feel alive. I'm standing up, keep standing up, but now
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
Slada.
Earth Shaker.
Dire team pick.
Silencer.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Ancient apparition.
Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Phantom Assassin.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Life Stealer.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team pick.
Behold the horn of Magnus.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Bat Rider!
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Mirana.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Shadow Fiend.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This evening we have a match between Buriza Youth and the Radiant side being played by Bhongs. Okay, so we have in Buriza Youth, Nikita on the Lifestealer, Kira on the Mirana. We have Venom on the Batrider. Rage Quit Esports, no, that's Pawn. Rage Quit Esports on the Slardar, and we have Iced on the Ancient Apparition. A name really suitable for the hero he picked. As for the side of 5 Bhongs, we're going to see pretty soon because my cameraman is pretty bad. He likes Team Buriza a lot. Okay, the go sign has been given. The game is going to resume. Good luck, have fun. Told by Buriza Youth. And that's Slardar TP's right inside his base. Oh my god, what a play, man. Good job, Pawn Rage Quit Esports. No wonder your name is that. And yeah, since that TP got whiffed by the Slardar, we see the Ancient Apparition going to the bottom lane, trying to place a bunch of wards, securing the off lane for their Batrider. Meanwhile, we see the Lifestealer and the Lifestealer and Slardar are going to the top lane, while the Batrider is going to be solo. Meanwhile, for the side of 5 Bhongs, we have the Phantom Assassin, Shadow Fiend, Earthshaker, Silencer, and a Magnus in their draft. A pretty solid draft, mostly centered around their ultimates, that is the Magnus's RP and the Earthshaker's Echo Slam, combined with
30
the
seconds to
Shadow
battle.
Fiend's Requiem of Souls is going to be dealing a lot of damage in these team fights. And actually, comparatively, we see Buriza Youth having a lot of single target spells. They have heroes who can burst one hero down pretty fast, so we'll see how this is going to turn out. I'm going to be giving the advantage to Buriza Youth because they have that Life Stealer who mostly negates a lot of damage coming in from the Shadow Fiend and the Earthshaker. But then again, the Phantom Assassin is a bit of a wild card. She relies on RNG. If you don't know what RNG is, that's like a game of chance, and her crits are like not going to be that reliable, so we'll see how it plays out. So Buriza Youth are going to be extending the pause for a little bit, getting coached by their coach, I assume. Well, since the game is paused, let me give out a shout out to one of our sponsors, SRM University. Do check them out. They're one of the best university chains in India. They roll out good students every year in various fields. Also check out Phoenix Market City, Bangalore. It's a really good place. You have to go there to check it out. It seems as though Buriza Youth have a bunch of problems with their voice, their microphones. So yeah, the game is going to get resumed. The ghost sign has been given by Buriza Youth, and we see 3 heroes in the top lane from Buriza Youth. That is going to be the Ancient Apparition, Slardar, and the Lifestealer. They're probably going to be supporting the Lifestealer, and he's going to be going against a solo Magnus. The Magnus is not going to be having a really pleasant time in the lane, but he does have that shockwave to farm from long range.
The battle begins.
Meanwhile, for the side of 5 Bhongs, we see the Phantom Assassin is going to get supported by the Silencer in the bottom lane, assuming the Earthshaker is going to be roaming around, rotating to the mid lane and the safe lane repeatedly. And as usual, the Shadow Fiend cannot really playing him in the safe lane, so they're going to be playing him in the mid. I was trying to be funny, please don't mind me. He's going up against a Mirana. The Mirana has a bit of an advantage in the early game, but if the Shadow Fiend manages to get his souls before the Mirana gets a lot of denies, he's gonna have that significant advantage over that right click damage. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, I would give the matchup advantage to the Batrider, since the Batrider is a really strong hero. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the Magnus is going to get initiated upon by the Ancient Apparition and the Slardar, but they don't really have a way of locking him down, so he's just going to skewer away to his tier 1. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the Shadow Fiend is going to get zoned out pretty bad by the Mirana, so he's not going to be having a lot of a pleasant time. In the top lane, a bunch of right click battle going between the Magnus and the Ancient Apparition. The Ancient Apparition clearly winning that, seeing that he's a ranged hero. Obviously that's going to be the case, so the Magnus is just going to eat an Ironwood branch, a GG branch, if that's what kids call them these days. And yeah, it does not seem like in any lane people are really committing towards a kill. We do see the Magnus trying to skewer the Slardar back into the tier 1. He will not be able to do so. The tier 1 is quite far away. The Magnus is getting pretty low, and the Ancient Apparition is coming, trying to get a kill onto the Magnus, but he won't be able to do that.
Radiant's middle
And
tower
I
is
guess
under
the
attack.
Slardar is going to secure the rune in the Radiant top jungle.
A soldier's fortune.
Things are not looking really good for the Magnus. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Batrider is not looking that bad. He has a bunch of napalm stacks on the
Radiant's
Earthshaker
middle
and the Phantom
tower is under
Assassin, so if they do decide to go for him, he can just pop that Firefly and go for return kill. And I would give the matchup advantage to the Batriders since he's really strong in solo lanes with that Firefly.
Coin for me.
The Phantom Assassin, though, she does have that mode of escape with her second ability. Magnus is trying hard to scrape by whatever farm he can get, but he's not able to get a lot. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we see a Fissure onto the Batrider, and yeah, there's not going to be a big commitment towards that kill, so he's just going to survive that. We see a bunch of hard lane stacks coming in from the Slardar. It's probably going to be for the Batrider. He is probably going to take that stack with his Firefly, allowing him to get those early items like the Drum of Endurance and the Blink Dagger. The Magnus is trying to leech a bunch of experience from that stacked camp, but he gets spotted out by the Ancient Apparition and the Slardar immediately, so again, things are not looking really well for the Magnus. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we see an arrow getting whiffed from the Mirana. The Shadow Fiend is going to survive. Also, he has the points into his raise, so he is going to be able to farm pretty well. And we also see a rotation coming in from the Earthshaker. If they want to decide to go for the Mirana, this might be the right moment. Maybe if they bait out the leap from the Mirana, they have a chance of getting a kill. The Mirana, though, she is going to find an invisibility rune, and that is probably going to result in a kill onto the Shadow Fiend, seeing as two supports are rotating onto the mid lane, trying to get a kill onto 5 Bhongs mid laner. The Slardar is going to go for a crush, but the Shadow Fiend with the double raise is going to get the first kill onto the Mirana. He does end up going down, but a beautiful play coming in from the Shadow Fiend, not compromising to the Slardar, decides to go for the kill onto the Mirana instead. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we see the Batrider probably going to get the kill onto that Silencer. He himself is looking really low. He should not spam his Napalm, since that is going to deal more damage to him since the Silencer's Q was on him. The Batrider, though, just surviving with a sliver of his HP. And we see the advantage coming in. The Shadow Fiend with that early respawn time is going to be getting a bunch of souls, so he's going to also right click the Mirana out of the lane if he needs to. So we see the Lifestealer is fairly uncontested. He's having a great time in his lane. He's ahead of the network charge by a meager margin, so the Lifestealer is going to be pretty fat right now. And we see a raise attempt coming in the mid lane, but the Mirana is going to leap away and is going to be safe for now. The Slardar trying to go for the Magnus, uses that sprint. And we see in the bottom lane, the Batrider is going to get kited out by the PA and his friends. And he's probably going to go down. He's too deep in.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Maybe the Firefly is going to save him. He is just going to fly towards the trees and be safe for now. Silencer is going to put down a bunch of right clicks, trying to harass the Batrider out of the lane, and he will be able to do so. But the Batrider, having completed his Tranquil Boots, is looking really strong right now. And as I say that, we see an initiation onto the Batrider. One more right click coming in from the Phantom Assassin might secure the kill, but the kill is going to get taken by the Silencer from the same team, so can't really complain about that. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the Magnus is not doing really well. He's nowhere close to completing his Arcane Boots. He's getting heavily harassed out of the lane. They don't even need the presence of their supports to go for the kill. We see a skewer coming in from the Magnus, and he is going to escape, but what can he really do? He's not getting any farm, he's not getting any bounty runes, and Buriza Youth are playing around that Ancient Apparition and the Slardar, making sure the Magnus is not going to be getting any farm anytime soon.
Illusion. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
We see a bunch of stacks coming in the Dire jungle. As I said, it's going to be given to the Batrider, helping him complete that early Blink Dagger, so He can go for kills on heroes like the Shadow Fiend. We actually see a 2 support hero rotation coming onto the mid lane from Buriza Youth, followed by the Earthshaker also coming into the mid lane, trying to help the Shadow Fiend probably get a kill onto the Mirana. He might go down if the Fisher lands and the Reese lands, but that's not going to be the case. Actually, the supports from the side of Buriza Youth have their sights set upon the Silencer and the Phantom Assassin. The smoke is going to break, but there is going to be a TP coming in from the Earthshaker, so they are not going to die so badly. Actually, there's not going to even be a fight, since they just retreat back to the security of their tier 1. The Mirana, though, he's looking really strong, has completed that Ring of Aquila. He does not have his boots though, so he needs to be really careful. If he gets caught out by the Shadow Fiend, he's probably going to be dead. The Magnus, I don't know, man, he's not having a good time in his lane. He is going to spot out that Observer Ward, and he pings it out to the Shadow Fiend, asking him to deward. Maybe no, actually not. The Observer Ward has not been spotted out by the Magnus and his friends. Meanwhile, the Lifestealer is getting close to his armlet. Once he gets that, they can go for a bunch of plays with the Slardar, with that sprint and infest. And we see a pause coming in from the side of 5 Bhongs. The Shadow Fiend saying that they have a bunch of loss coming in, and the go sign has been given immediately, so there's not going to be a significant amount of pause coming in. The mid lane, though, it is getting highly pressured by the side of Buriza Youth. They don't want to give that advantage to the Shadow Fiend. Having a lane for him to farm is not an ideal thing against the Shadow Fiend. You need to push the tier 1 as fast as possible so he does not come back into the lane and get all those creeps with his raises. You see the Magnus still level 4, 9 minutes into the game. That has to be one of the saddest Magnus I've ever seen in the history of Dota 2. But then again, it does not seem like his teammates are willing to help him. We can't really complain. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Phantom Assassin is getting a decent amount of farm, but we do see a 1000 gold margin between the Lifestealer and the Phantom Assassin. That just shows the amount of difference between the cores. And if this sort of margin is going to persist throughout the game, then they are in real trouble. We see the Firefly coming in from the Batrider. That is not going to be enough to secure a kill onto the Earthshaker. He is going to get awfully low, but the Batrider goes down, so there's that. The 2 hero rotation coming in from Buriza Youth is going to be a tad bit too late, so they will not be able to save their friend, the Batrider. The Invis rune is going to get spotted out by the Shadow Fiend, and it gets denied immediately by the Ancient Apparition. And we see the Shadow Fiend just using that taunt, showing good sportsmanship. He has completed his portraits, has a Dragon Lance being queued up, and he's just going to be jungling for now. He has that bottle, and with that constant amount of mana, he will be able to raise down the neutral creeps and make his life much easier. Meanwhile, the mid lane is actually going to go down. The siege creep is going to secure that. The Magnus is actually closing towards his arcane boots. He actually has the money to buy that. He's not buying it yet. It is in the secret shop, but he is going to get zoned out of it by the Lifestealer. So he'll have to go back to his secret shop to actually buy that arcane boots. So the Magnus finally reaching level 5, 10 minutes into the game. And he still does not have RP. That is a really big liability coming in from the Magnus. Meanwhile, the Silencer is going to get picked off by the Batrider and the Slardar. So Buriza Youth getting one more kill in the map. We see the infest coming in, actually open wounds coming in from the Lifestealer. The Lifestealer wants to go for the kill onto the Magnus. Since he knows that he does not have RP, he commits to that kill and he gets that. The Magnus goes down. A sad, pathetic death. Only if his supports were there to help him out in the lane, try to get him some farm. But it seems as though they left him for dead, and so he's dead. And we see an initiation onto the bottom lane on the Batter. The Batter is going to get silenced by the Silencer, and that is probably going to be the kill. And yes, Voodoo on the Silencer is going to take that kill. Meanwhile, the Magnus is going to get initiated upon by the Lifestealer again, not letting him get that level 6, getting that crucial RP. If he gets that, then maybe he has a chance, but the Lifestealer knows that, so he goes for him as soon as he TPs and makes sure he's dead. He does not get that level 6 anytime soon. And well played from the side of Buriza Youth. So we see a rotation onto the mid lane. The Slaughter is going to get spot out. The Shadowfiend and the Arrow is also going to be there, but not enough damage. The Rectum of Souls is also going to be there, and the Global Silence is going to make sure the Shadowfiend is going to survive for a little bit of time. Actually, he's just going to survive the fight since the heroes from Buriza Youth do not want to really commit for that kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we see the Lifestealer and his friend, the Ancient Apparition, just pushing out that tier 1. And the Magnus, though, he's not looking really well.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So we see a bunch of pings coming out from the side of Buriza Youth. They ping out the Phantom Assassin. They actually want to go for a kill onto the Phantom Assassin. They don't want her to get a lot of farm. And as I talked about in the beginning of the game, Phantom Assassin is a hero who can snowball into the late game if given the space. And actually, he is getting close to his Desolator. 2000 gold more and he'll have that. And once he has that, that's going to be a really good tool in his arsenal to get a bunch of kills on those squishy supports like the Ancient Apparition. And we see a 4-man rotation coming onto the top lane. Trying to get a kill maybe onto the Lifestealer and the Ancient Apparition. There is going to be the Curse of the Silent coming in from the Silencer. That is going to slow the Ancient Apparition, and he's just going to melt to the Phantom Assassin. But the last hit is going to get taken by the Magnus, and that's actually a good choice since he did not really get any farm in the lane. A well-deserved kill going for him. And we see a TP coming in from the Slaughter. Maybe an RP is going to get committed. The RP is actually going to get committed. And the Magnus, the Cleave plus the Phantom Assassin is dealing a lot of damage. We see more rotation coming in from the side of Team Buriza Youth. And the Silencer walks into the Arrow coming in from Mirana. And he goes down. Just melts right there. The Lifestealer sadly did not go down. And that's going to be a support for a support going the way of 5 Bhongs and Buriza Youth. And immediately there's going to be a pause coming in from the Magnus. And yeah, it seems as though both these teams have a bunch of problems with their communication, so I'm not really going to get into that. Actually, I'm going to take advantage of this pause and give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Acer Predator. Just do check them out. They do a good quality gaming laptops. They also do good quality computer peripherals. Do check them out. And Circle Gaming, they make one of the best cabinets in the world, perfectly engineered. Maybe if you want to build a tower for yourself, do check them out. And Redbull as our energy sponsor, also check them out. Actually right now I'm popping up a can of Red Bull myself, since yeah, coffee isn't cutting it for me these days. So yeah, the game is going to get paused, and actually I'm going to take a breather since I know that there's going to be a lot of fights coming in this game. It seems as though they have a bunch of sound issues going the way of 5 Bhongs. It doesn't seem like the sound issue is going to get resolved anytime soon, and as I pop my can of Red Bull, I realized that we haven't really introduced myself. I am Old Bear, also known as Siddharth Prashant. I am working with Playtonia. Do check us out. Check our Facebook page, check our YouTube channel, check out our Twitch channel. We put out content almost every week. Good gaming content for the Indian community. And yeah, as I finish that, the game is going to get resumed. The ghost sign has been given by the Magnus. And we see 4 heroes from the side of 5 Bhongs are going to cluster up in the top lane versus the 4 heroes from the side of Team Buriza Youth. And we see the Mirana and the Lifestealer trying to go for that siege in the tier 1. The Phantom Assassin is going to be there though, and we also see the Silencer TP back into the lane, so that is going to be a 5-man death wall coming in from the side of 5 Bhongs. Actually, they are not going to commit for that. Ignore what I just said. The Silencer is going to go back into his lane, and the Shadow Fiend probably going to just resume farming. He is actually leading the network charts, even though 5 Bhongs are not doing really well in these rotations and team fights. He is still leading the network charts. That is the power of the Shadow Fiend, my friends. With that race, he is able to creep clear everywhere he goes and get the amount of farm he needs, and completes his items way before the Lifestealer could ever complete his. And we see a Sanjanyasha actually being queued up for the Lifestealer. The Sanjanyasha will allow him to move way faster than he usually does. A Lifestealer moves pretty fast without the Sanjanyasha, and with that he's going to move pretty damn fast. And we see the Magnus is all getting zoned out of the lane pretty bad. He does not have that RP, so he doesn't really have anything in his tool set to actually help his team go for a team fight. So he's just going to sit there and farm up the neutral creeps really slowly. The Ancient Apparition is going to get pinged out by the Shadow Fiend. The Shadow Fiend actually wants to go for that kill. He smells blood, but the Ancient Apparition is not going to concede. He's going to go back to his side of the map. Meanwhile, the Mirana getting a decent amount of farm in the bottom lane. The Slardar actually hasn't gone for that Blink Dagger yet. He doesn't even have that queued up. It seems as though the sprint seems to be capable enough of doing the job for him. The Mirana though has that Asha in her inventory, so she's going to be moving really fast in these team fights. And we actually see the rotation coming in from the Slardar. They want to go for the kill onto the bottom lane. The Phantom Assassin is going to get spotted out by the Mirana and the Bat Rider. The Bat Rider actually almost has his Blink Dagger. Maybe they will wait until the Bat Rider gets his Blink, so they want to take a team fight. Yeah, I guess that's exactly what they're going to do. The drums plus Blink completed onto the Bat Rider, even though he did not have a really good lane. That is the power of stacking for your teammates, my friends. And that's exactly what you should do if you want to climb MMR. So the Magnus actually completes his Blink Dagger. He went for straight Blink Dagger after Brown Boots, so not a really big feat for himself, but the Blink Dagger, just another tool in his arsenal to allow for more easier initiations onto the heroes of Buriza Youth.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The double damage is going to get pinged out, and the Mirana is probably going to take that in the bottom lane.
Double damage.
The Mirana has that Mantis Style being queued up in her quick buy. The Mantis Style will allow her to deal a lot of damage. Meanwhile, the Phantom Assassin jumps in confidently onto the Lifestealer. The Lifestealer, though, he is pretty tanky himself, but he needs to be really careful, even though he's practically invincible with that evasion going for him. Things are not looking really well. Meanwhile, we see a lasso onto the Earthshaker, and the Ice Blast is also going to be there. The Corrosive Haze onto the Earthshaker. The Earthshaker is actually going to whiff his Echo Slam, and the Skewer is also not going to connect. The Arrow is also not going to connect from the Mirana. And that's a bunch of whiffed ultimates coming the way of 5 Bhongs. Shadow Fiend is actually not there, so I don't think 5 Bhongs need to take the team fight. The Life Stealer also is just going to be farming up. Maybe they could go for an infest play once he gets his Sanjanyasha, but until then I don't think Buriza Youth should press on this advantage. Even though they have one, they don't have that lasso coming in from the Batrider. So we see the heroes from 5 Bhongs are actually sticking relatively close together compared to Buriza Youth, where the Lifestealer is just farming in one separate lane, while the other four heroes from Buriza Youth are constantly trying to go for a gank, creating space for their position 1. They're doing it right.
Allies disappear.
And we see a Mirana ultimate is going to get popped up. That is the first Mirana ultimate. The lasso is not going to be committed, and Silencer is actually going to go down. The Blink Dagger coming into play from the Batrider helps him secure the kill, even without having to spend his lasso. So that's actually good for him. He will have that for the next team fight. And we see a bunch of steroids going to get given to the Phantom Assassin from the Magnus's Cleave. We actually see the Hurricane Bite being completed on the Shadow Fiend. He's pretty damn fat for a Shadow Fiend. The BKB is going to be next on the line. The RP is actually going to get committed, and the Batrider goes down, but so does the Magnus. The Phantom Assassin is going to get slowed by the Ancient Apparition. They don't really have another tool to go for it. The Slardar, though, wants to get a kill onto the Phantom Assassin, but we do see a bunch of TPs coming in from the side of 5 Bhongs. Also, the Shadow Fiend TP'd in for his first team fight. So Buriza Youth are looking to be hesitant on taking this team fight.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So 700 gold more for the Mirana to complete her Manta style. The Ancient Apparition, though, has that Gloves of Haste, so I assume that's going to be a Hand of Midas. A steady income of gold going for him will eventually lead to him getting that Aghanim Scepter. And Aghanim Scepter, if you guys don't know, that is really devastating on an Ancient Apparition. That allows his Ice Blast duration to stay a lot longer, allowing his team to deal more damage in the team fight as time progresses and get that shard kill.
Coin for me.
We do see the Phantom Assassin having completed her Desolator. Let's see what she decides to go for next. Maybe she can go for something which is not a BKB, maybe like a Vanguard. And we actually see the Magnus is going to get pinged out by the Batrider, and the Magnus actually has that skewer back, and he's going to be safe for now. There is not going to be an RP, so he's just going to go down. The lasso actually did not have to be committed to get that kill. Meanwhile, the Slardar is going to farm up his Blink Dagger pretty monotonously. He does not want to participate in these team fights until he has that Blink Dagger. And we actually see the rest of the heroes from the side of Buriza Youth are trying to be aggressive on the bottom lane, trying to get that kill onto the tier 2. The Batrider still has Lasso though, so the Life Stealer and the Batrider roaming together, trying to maybe scout for a kill with an infest.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
See a bunch of wards being placed by the Ancient Apparition that is going to spot out the Shadow Fiend and the Phantom Assassin. And the Batrider though, he's in a really tough position. If he gets initiated upon by the Phantom Assassin, he's probably going to go down. He does not have a way to escape. The slow is going to be there, and the jump in. Actually, an RP coming in from the Magnus that is going to secure the kill. I don't know why the hell someone would waste an RP on a solo kill on a Batrider, but that's his choice, I guess. And we see an immediate smoke coming in from 5 Bhongs. The Magnus does not have RP sadly, but he is going to be serving as the bait. We see the Stifling Dagger coming in from the Phantom Assassin, doing a decent amount of damage to the Life Stealer. That's going to be that. The Slardar is going to complete his Bling Dagger with this creep, and he's going to probably go back to base, regen up his mana, and get back into the team fights. So the Sanj and Yasha being completed on the Life Stealer. We'll see what he's going to get next. Probably going to be a Desolator since he does have that Blightstone. You see the Phantom Assassin eyeballing the Ancient Apparition. Maybe she wants to go for a solo kill, but the Ancient Apparition does spot out the rotation coming in from the Phantom Assassin through the wards that he placed near the Radiant Ancient camp in the top side.
Radiant are scanning.
We see a scan coming in from the Radiant side near the Dire Shrine in the top side. That is really not going to connect onto any heroes. We see the Slaughter though. He has that Blink Dagger and the Life Stealer inside of him. Maybe he wants to go for a kill. If they get the kill onto the Silencer, that's going to be really good with the Global Silence down. That is going to be a really good way to take the team fight. We see a lasso onto the Silencer though actually, and the Blink Initiation onto the Shadow Fiend. He's going to melt. The Ancient Apparition ultimate is going to be there, and the BKB is going to go to waste. He's going to pop that anyway. Really bad choice from him, and the Magnus is also actually going to go down. That's going to be 4 heroes down for the side of 5 Bhongs, and the Buriza youth take that team fight with utmost precision and get 4 kills and lose none in return. So we see the Mirana having queued up that Diffusal Blade in her quick buy. And the Hand of Might is actually getting completed onto the Ancient Apparition. The Bash Rider though, he's probably going to go for a Blink Dagger next, and we see the Roshan attempt coming in from the side of Buriza youth. The arrow is going to be there, and maybe the Corrosive Haste onto the Roshan will make it easier. I don't think the Slaughter realizes it for some reason. Okay, actually there is going to be that Corrosive Haste. You just can't see it because the animation is bugged. And Roshan going to go down fairly easily to Buriza youth. Not going to get contested by 5 Bhongs. So the Aegis is going to get picked up by the Life Stealer. He's looking really strong right now. The lead that the Shadow Fiend had rendered useless with that last fight. The BKB, 10-second BKB gone to waste. And we actually see a Force Staff queue coming up from the Slaughter. One more tool for movement coming in from the Slaughter, allowing him to go for more infest kills with the Life Stealer. We see the hasted Mirana trying to scout out any of the heroes from the side of 5 Bhongs, but all the heroes are huddled up in the top lane. That's how scared they are of Buriza youth right now. And we actually see an infest coming onto the Slaughter, and we see a 3-man smoke up coming in from the side of Buriza youth. They want to go for a kill. They're desperately trying to scour the Radiant jungle, trying to spot out any heroes who are willing to cross their path, and simultaneously we see a 5-man smoke up coming in from 5 Bhongs. They're actually going towards the tier 1. This is a really awkward position. They're probably going to commit to the tier 1, and the Buriza youth is probably going to commit to the tier 3s. Not a really fair exchange for 5 Bhongs, but I guess they're just going to settle with that. The bottom tower is going to get contested. The Fissure is going to be there, and that is going to trap the Mirana for now. The Leap is actually going to be there, and he's going to be safe for now. But an amazing Ice Blast coming in from the Ancient Apparition is going to be able to secure a kill onto the Silencer. The Silencer goes down. The BKB getting popped up by the Phantom Assassin, trying to get a kill onto the Life Stealer. He does have that Aegis, mind you. And the dual BKB is getting popped up by the Shadow Fiend and the Phantom Assassin. The Requiem of Souls is going to get popped prematurely, and we see a Rage and Infest actually not going to work. The Life Stealer is going to go down. All the heroes from the side of Buriza youth are really low, and the Bat Rider is the only one who survives that, but for not for too long. He's going to get initiated upon, and that is going to be a double kill going the way of the Phantom Assassin, and a 5-man wipe going the way of 5 Bhongs. So Buriza Youth, with the advantage that they had, they decided, no, we are going to throw the game, and they just did. They are just going to they made their game way harder for themselves by going in like that. The Mirana should not have stayed there and gone for that. They should have just sieged high ground with that Aegis, just raging up with the life stealer and hitting that building, slowly sieging it. But they wasted that Aegis and they wasted that team fight. And we actually see a butterfly being queued up for the Shadow Fiend. The butterfly is going to help him move a little bit faster, and combined with that BKB, he's going to be able to fight the life stealer toe to toe. So the Ancient Apparition is just going to go for that Aghanim Scepter, slowly farming that up. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Batrider is actually going to get spotted out by the heroes of 5 Bhongs. If the Phantom Assassin decides to go for that, that is a dead Batrider for sure. But they're really hesitant on why they want to go for that, because they don't know what other heroes are around that dire jungle.
Yes. Invisibility.
We see an Invis Rune getting picked up by the Slardar, which will allow him to scout out the Radiant jungle, since we do see Buriza Youth gathering up in the top lane, trying to take that team fight over there. Since the bottom lane hasn't proved to be lucky this time around, the Invis Rune plus the Infest from the Lifestealer, and we see the Slardar and his friends rotating into the top lane, trying to look for a kill. And we actually see the Slardar is going to spot out the Lifestealer and the Earthshaker, and we see a blink and crush coming onto the Earthshaker, and he melts immediately just like that, and Global Silence is going to be spent. Actually not spent, it's going to be wasted in that little bit of a skirmish, a little bit of a panic ultimate coming in from the Silencer, and that is going to be a long cooldown on his ultimate. But we see an initiation immediately onto the bottom lane. The Lifestealer is actually stealing too much, but we see an immediate lasso onto the Phantom Assassin. He does have that BKB, so he's going to be safe for now. The smoke coming in from the Silencer is not going to be there, and that's not actually going to be enough to get a kill. And the Phantom Assassin is actually going to get kited around a lot. The Slardar is going to go on the Silencer, and the Silencer is actually going to get ignored by the Slardar and his friends. They actually want to go for a kill onto the Phantom Assassin. They know that's a more precious kill, and the Ice Blast is sadly not going to connect, but the Phantom Assassin is going to go down. The Mirana is going to take that kill with that Star Storm, and they're looking to chase for more kills. The Crush is actually going to be there on the Earthshaker, and a few more right clicks is going to secure the kill. 2 heroes done for the side of 5 Bhongs, and Buriza Youth salvage that team fight barely. Even though they lost the Lifestealer, they get a critical kill onto the Phantom Assassin, which will probably allow them to do a little bit of damage onto the tier 3. Actually, we see the Butterfly coming onto the Shadow Fiend. He's been farming consistently throughout the game, making sure that he's not going to get carried away by his power that he has right now. He's not participating in the team fight, even though he knows that he's probably the strongest hero in the game right now. And he's actually going to queue up for a Skadi, gets that Ultimate Orb as his first item. So we see the Slardar trying to consistently just farm up and try to get that Force Staff. A bunch of D-wards coming in from the Ancient Apparition, an easy 100 gold going his way. He's not going to be completing his Aghanim Scepter anytime soon, even though he's saving up a lot of money with that Hand of Midas. The Mirana and the Lifestealer having queued up that MKB in their quick buy, that is going to allow them to deal the reliable damage to the Phantom Assassin, and making sure that her evasion is not going to matter much in these team fights. We actually see the Mirana and Shadow Demon roaming together, trying to go for those solo kills. I don't really recommend that since the heroes from 5 Bhongs are sticking close together.
Let thy healing begin.
And if they do manage to go for one hero, they have to be prepared to go for the rest of the 4 heroes too, since they're probably going to be sticking around. You see Yule Scepter being completed onto the Bat Rider. He did not go for the BKB as I predicted. He's going to be going for the BKB right now though, so yeah, more power to me.
Coin for me.
So we see the Shadow Fiend though consistently just farming up his items, and the Bat Rider just pushing down the bottom lane. He is pretty much in a weird position though. If he gets caught out, it's sure that he's going to go down. But it seems as though he's confident that he's not going to go down anytime soon. So we see an infest onto the Slardar. Maybe they want to go for a kill, maybe on the Earthshaker. The Earthshaker has honestly not been doing a lot. Even though the Magnus had the bad lane in this game, he's managed to do much more than the Earthshaker could, since the Earthshaker just instantly melts to the Slardar and the Lifestealer. You see Roche getting pinged out by the Shadow Fiend, and actually they
Radiant's
ping out the
top
Ancient
tower is
Apparition.
under
They want to
attack.
go for a kill on him, and you see a bunch of D-wards coming in from the side of
Radiant's top tower is falling.
Bhongs 5
Dire's
Bhongs
middle
actually.
tower is under attack.
And we see a Skull Basher on the Phantom
Radiant's
Assassin, so
top
that's going to
tower
be an
is under
Abyssal Blade.
attack.
An Abyssal Blade is a
Dire's
really
middle
good
tower
item
is under
versus
attack.
that Lifestealer. The game
Radiant
is
are
going
scared.
pretty stale. Nobody really wants to commit for a team fight. The Roche is actually getting pinged out by both the teams. If Buriza Youth manages to get there before 5 Bhongs, they'll probably be able to get that pretty fast with that Slardar's Corrosive Haze. But it seems as though 5 Bhongs are gathering up in the mid lane, preparing for that eventual Roche fight. The D-Ward is going to get pinged out by the Shadow Fiend. An amazing stifling dagger into Blink coming in from the Phantom Assassin is just going to melt the Ancient Apparition just like butter. And we see that is going to be a Roshan attempt going the way of 5 Bhongs. The Shadow Fiend is dealing a lot of damage, and so is the Phantom Assassin. So that's going to be an Aegis and Cheese going the way of 5 Bhongs. The Aegis is going to be picked up by the Shadow Fiend, while the Cheese is going to be picked up by the Phantom Assassin. Actually a really good choice.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So we see the Empower into the
Dire's
Phantom
middle tower
Assassin
has
coming
fallen.
in really good in these team fights right now. And 5 Bhongs actually gathered up
Dire's
in the
middle
mid lane
tower
trying
is
to
under
siege
attack.
that tier 3. They do know that the other lanes are getting split
structures
push,
are
but they don't
fortified.
really care much for that. And the Lifestealer, he is going to TP back to his base, but the tier 3 is going to go down a little bit too late. There is going to be that lasso onto the Phantom Assassin. The Phantom Assassin going to pop that BKB and Cheese, and he's going to be just fine. And the barracks are actually going to go down pretty fast. The Shadow Fiend though, the Shadow Fiend deals a lot of damage. The barracks are going to go down. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Mirana is dealing a lot of damage onto the barracks, and we actually see the Earthshaker just going to go down. The Fisher is going to be a tad bit too late. And we see in the mid lane, the Requiem of Souls is going to be there, and the Lifestealer is going to get beaten down by the Shadow Fiend, and the Phantom Assassin is going to secure the kill. The Mirana though, he is going to be ratting it out and forcing out a bunch of TPs coming in from the Shadow Fiend. So that's about it. One lane of barracks exchange for both the teams. But Buriza Youth did lose 3 heroes in that team fight.
On which to waste them.
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
This should make my life easier.
So the Shadow
Dire's top
Fiend
shrine is
probably
under
has
attack.
completed his Skadi. With that, he will be able to siege high ground pretty well with the level 25 talent. That is going to be that extra range going for him. And here we see the real heroes of Dota 2, the creep, just hitting out
Dire's
the
top
shrine,
is under attack.
whittling it down slowly but steadily. It is going to get spotted out by the Mirana, and it goes down. Brave Warrior just goes down. May he respawn in the next few seconds. We actually see the Agron Scepter going to get completed onto the Ancient Apparition pretty soon. We see the BKB is going to get popped up by the Phantom Assassin trying to go for a kill onto the Bat Rider. They will not be able to do so. The BKB was wasted, so that's one thing going for Buriza Youth. The Slardar though, he's going to get spotted out by the heroes
This will be just
of
fine.
5 Bhongs. We actually see an initiation in the bottom lane. The Slardar is going to get spotted out by the Magnus and the Earthshaker. Maybe if they want to go for a kill, they will be able to do so. But they're playing really hesitant. They don't know
Radiant's
what
top
other
shrine
heroes
is
are
under
there
attack.
in the high ground. And we see a solo smoke up coming in from the Silencer trying to defend the top lane.
Radiant's top shrine has fallen.
Prize is mine.
So with the Skadi having been completed onto the Shadow Fiend, he's looking really strong, and the Shrine is going to get contested actually. It's probably going to go down pretty fast. No, actually they set their sights onto the Life Stealer. The Life Stealer is going to get secured back and crit by the Phantom Assassin. Just like that, he goes down. The Life Stealer not doing a lot in this game. Even as he had that early game advantage, they did not really capitalize on that, so they're really paying the pace right now.
Is under attack. Radiant's top tower has fallen.
So meanwhile, the Bat Rider has that BKB being queued up, and the Global Silence actually being popped up. They want to get the kill onto the Mirana, and the Bat Rider though trying to look for a kill, maybe onto the Earthshaker. The Earthshaker is going to get lassoed up, and Firefly, he's going to be taking a decent chunk of damage, and probably going to go down to the Bat Rider if he commits hard enough.
We run.
And actually he does not want to commit for that. We see 2 buybacks coming in from Buriza Youth, the Life Stealer and the Mirana. The Ice Blast is actually going to connect onto the Shadow Fiend, but the backs are just going to go down. The Shadow Fiend dealing way too much damage, and the Mirana is actually going to die just like that. That's going to be a dieback. The Life Stealer is also going to go down. That is 2 diebacks coming the way of Buriza Youth, and I guess that's the game. 5 Bhongs bring back the game, even though they had that advantage in the early game. They really couldn't do well against that Shadow Fiend who they just let him free farm. So that's going to be GG well played. Yeah, I'm Oak Bear Siddharth Prashant, and I'm going to be signing off right now.